So this is hot news, hot off the press. It's a dead heat for the Senate. The deluxe version of our model simulates the election 40,000 times to see which party wins the Senate most often. This sample of 100 outcomes gives you an idea of the range of scenarios the model considers possible. So the Senate is highly controversial right now. Republicans are favored to win the House. The deluxe version of the model simulates the election 40,000 times to see which party wins the House most often. This sample of 100 outcomes gives you the idea of the range of scenarios the model considers possible. So an 82% chance of the Republicans winning the House, and then the Senate is 50-50. That's going to get spicy. So there is a 50% chance that Republicans win both chambers. Republicans win the Senate and Democrats win the House. There's less than a 1% chance. Democrats win the Senate and Republicans win the House. There's a 33% chance. And then there's a 17% chance that the Democrats win both chambers. There is literally a 1 in 2 chance that Republicans are about to win the House and the Senate. I believe Pennsylvania, where I am right now, is a hotly contested one for the Senate because the Senate is this close between Oz and Fetterman. Like the amount of ads I'm getting right now being in Pennsylvania, I get called at least 10 times a day. Like it is so crazy. The commercials on everything. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I didn't realize that the Senate was that close, 50-50. This is a little bit of a hot take, but I want to share it with you regardless. It's one thing that I really just don't get right now. Roughly in America, I believe there's in the realm of 350 million. Let's say that you cut 150 million out of there because they can't run for president because maybe they're not old enough, maybe they weren't born in this country. So that brings us down to 200 million. Then let's just look at 10% of that to really make clear where I'm going with the numbers. So now we're talking about 20 million people. In the world of numbers, out of 20 million, statistically, why can't we just find people who are an intellectual titan, an Adonis of a human being, a person who is far better than the rest of us? Just someone who, they know all these political facts. They're super moral. They know about finance. They understand foreign policy. They're just absolutely ripped. And the only thing that's more ripped than their muscles is their freaking brain, just as wrinkly as it gets. Statistically, those should be our two people. Why not? It should not be hard to achieve that. Historically, our options were between a civil rights leader who was admired by the public and then some storied, medaled, accolade war general. That's who we used to pick. In the most recent one, we have a guy who, let's be honest, probably doesn't know his name on most days. And then the other guy was a trust fund inheritance Cheeto. Those were our two options. What happened where we went from war generals, civil rights leaders, and now with more of a population, and as I alluded to, we have the numbers where statistically we should be able to pick amazing people, and we can't. And even in this midterm election, it's crazy. If you look at our options, you just wonder, where are the good people? The fact that all of these elections have become the lesser of two evils, the fact that our conversations are centered around of well, your person's worse because of this, it's always just mudslinging and negativity, okay, my guy's a little less bad, something like that. It should be the opposite of we're wow, they're both really good, but I'm going to vote this way just because I think this is a little bit smarter. I think this is a little bit better. I wish we were in a position where we were taking the difference in their accolades of okay, I like this, or I understand that position a bit more, rather than they're okay, well, that devil seems not as bad as this devil, lesser of two evils, so I guess I have to vote that way. It blows my mind. I thought about this so much, and I literally cannot wrap my head around of how we're possibly in this situation. And then you do a little bit more of a deep dive, and you realize that's how the entire political infrastructure of the U.S. is built. Of you have to get in early, and you become a career politician. Thus, you have no expertise in anything else besides just I suppose maybe getting people to vote for you, and even to aspire to get to that level, especially the way it is in the US right now, I truly believe historically it was people who wanted to do right by their fellow neighbors, do right by their constituents, do right by their country. It was people who felt a truly, and I mean this by the exact definition, like a patriotic push of like, I want to make my country better. Now it's a bunch of egomaniacs, which just is absolutely insane. And do I have an answer of how to fix any of this? Oh, no, God, no. I mean, it's so much easier to like whine and complain and just point out how the system is completely messed up rather than actually presenting a solution. I wish I had a solution. I wish my brain was big enough. I wish I was one of those people who was an Adonis, an intellectual titan. I wish I was that, but I'm not. So I think one of those people should like step up to the plate and be like, hey, I had this idea and I think we should implement this because of XYZ, 1, 2, 3, and bada bing, bada boom. Our politics are fixed. But until then, we're just being left with the options that I think we deserve, honestly, at a certain point, just Americans being Americans. I was like, oh, this is like truly a reflection of us, just a bunch of asshats. I hope it improves, but I don't know if I should particularly hold my breath on it.